Thank you so much, JJ. And I must say that even when Reverend Richard and I started treatment, instead of going the 5 steps as planned by our founder, Ernest Holmes, we always start with gratitude, because we felt for many years that going into treatment, going into prayer, first giving thanks for all that one has received, just puts one into that space that you cannot describe. Saying, I'm great, you just think in the middle of your heart right now of all for which you're grateful. Think of 3 things, just think of them. Okay. We have our love, we have our spirituality, we have our health, we have our appearance, we have our brains, we have our friends. We have just countless things for which to be grateful. Now, I told you a few minutes ago that Reverend Judy Ann isn't feeling well, so she's not here, and I learned that from Joe as I arrived. We determined that our 2 options were for Joe to do what he had quickly planned for you with a video from Reverend Judy of a program she'd previously done, which you've probably not heard, and so the or was for me to speak, and I've determined that that's what I'll do. I'll just share with you what comes up for me. What comes up that we can use tonight? Now, I see that Reverend Judy Ann's title was Nothing from Nothing Leaves Nothing. How many of you are at all familiar with religious science? Just raise your hand and lower them. Okay, most of you have heard it. All right. At any rate, I do believe that most of the people on this planet, no matter in which religion they are involved, believe that there is a fullness, a beauty, a grand, glorious something about all our life. And that when you come right down to it, there is enough food. There are enough beds. There is technically enough of everything, but somehow we people don't know how to get it measured out so that it flows through everyone. So we have to stop bartering and instead believe and move through the plush consciousness which God has provided. Now this title, Nothing from Nothing Leaves Nothing. I propose that in all of life there is a tremendous amount of something pouring over every moment. Look at the preparation through which the human body goes before a child is born. Richard and I were looking at a piece that had come on the computer this week, and it showed a baby born in Germany this past week who weighed in excess of 13 pounds. Born by the vaginal canal. I don't know in what condition her mother is now, but there was this huge child, and they said even this baby was not the largest one who'd been born. Tell me, when you hear the word nothing, what comes into your mind? Someone just raise a hand and tell me. Nothing. All right? She says her bank account, all right? Someone else? Beg pardon? Void. Is there anything you'd like to add to that void? You just think of nothingness, all right? And a third person. Beg pardon? Empty. Yes. I wonder, Joe, can you turn this light down just a little bit? Can you still see my face well enough? That's better. How is that? Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. We have a bank account, we have a void, and we have empty. We'll talk about the bank account in just a moment because it applies to all of us. A void is absolute nothingness, clear, empty, nothing appearing, nothing existing. We know that technically God is everywhere, filling all spaces, every tree, every animal, every person, every mammal. So there is no place where there is actually a void. A void is also the same thing, emptiness. We know that there is no absolute emptiness. Just imagine, if you will, what the astronauts saw when they went out into space decades ago. Could you believe and can you believe the pictures that we're getting every day back from what is supposed to be a void? Planets, stars, glorious, indescribable movement. It's all there. It's all here. And then there is this tiny microcosm of us. Think of your innards. Think of a picture which you've seen of the physical body. There is no space where there is not something. There's blood everywhere. There are veins. There are arteries. There's skin. There's hair. There's something everywhere, just filling this magnificently compact unit, which we call our physical vehicle. Isn't that wonderful? The incredible thing is that at the time our bodies were created, every part of it was given a total blueprint. And it is as though that blueprint had marked in bright red on it the part that applied to that part, to that component, to that heart. So the heart received a diagram of who it is, what it is, with an explanation of what it is to do and how it is to do it. The lungs receive the same, so the lungs know exactly what they're to do. The kidneys, the bladder, everything knows exactly what it's to do. And as long as all of the members of this physical orchestra continue to do their parts, then the whole of this physical vehicle just sounds like some magnificent symphony. It's only when there is a challenge, something gets out of balance, or some growth occurs, that there is a real problem. And even now, our scientists are doing so much, finding so many ways to tweak and to improve it, so that all of this gets back into balance. Now, what can we do when we're told that we have a serious ailment or a terminal ailment? Does it serve any purpose for us just to go total bonkers and say, oh, woe is me, I don't know what I'm going to do, my time is up? No. Now the medical professionals are telling us that that attitude helps us to pass off this planet sooner. They say that they're able to tell with great accuracy which of two people will manage to get over a malady. It is the person with the attitude of, I know I can take care of this. I know the answers are being given me. I know that spirit is present. I'm reading a book right now called The Power of One, about an Irish husband and wife who 10 years ago were given the news that the husband had 2 brain tumors, and I don't recall the name of the tumors, but the doctors did not expect him to live. He was an extremely high-powered, extremely professional trial lawyer who worked with the clients. His wife said that in the moment we were given this information, I determined that I would be his advocate. So she started to keep a notebook of everything that was necessary for them to do in order to take care of all the necessary steps. She kept a record of every medical appointment held, the medications prescribed, the length of time through which he was taking these medications, et cetera, et cetera. And in the back of the book are 50 tips for anyone with a truly life-threatening physical challenge. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of right now. 17 years ago, I went through that kind of challenge. And as I've been reading this book, I always go through the table of contents. So I read the table of contents, and I knew that by going to the very back of the book, I wasn't going to ruin anything about the story. It's true, and these were just self-help tools. So I went to the back, I read the 50 items there, and I read ahead of them the 5 Irish stories which he loved telling people, and they are hilarious. As I looked at these 50 items listed, I then thought about my husband. And I thought, never till this moment, as I'm looking at this book, have I ever thought of Richard as my advocate. But he was my advocate. 17 years ago, I did not intend for this to be an autobiography, but it serves our purpose, so I'm going to share this with you. We went to a doctor for a regular exam, did it every year for the mammogram. It's called back. The doctor said they had noted cancer. They needed to do surgery. So we asked for another appointment. Richard and I then took off for the library. We read everything we could, the terms, et cetera, because no one in my family has ever had cancer. But then that's the case with well over 50% of women who acquire some type of it. We mapped out our questions. We kept the appointment, went in, sat down with the doctor, and started to ask him the questions we had on our paper. Does anyone have any idea what the doctor said to us? He said, just a moment. Did you see my outer office when you came in? Did you notice people who were out there? We said, yes. He said, I don't have time for these questions. We said, oh, thank you. We stood up instantly. My daughter went on the internet, checked, found that there are 6 or 7 major spots in this whole country where they take care of such. The closest one was USC right there in Southern California. She called. They told her exactly what to do. I went over to pick up my records. I was told that those belonged to doctors. I couldn't have my records. You can't have them. And I shall not tell you the term I applied to myself for the way I reacted to that with them. I'll just say when I left that spot that day, I had all of my records with me. My daughter sent them by, what kind of mail did we send 10 or 15 years ago before email? FedEx. My daughter sent everything by FedEx. We got a call the next day. They'd scheduled the appointment. Their team had met. They told me when to come in. We went. Yes, what the doctor had said was true. The type of surgery he was suggesting was not necessary. I'll go from there to bottom line. The doctor said surgery was necessary, but he, along with his team, were getting ready to go over into Africa and do a lot of different surgeries for individuals who could not pay for it. They would be back in January, and we could schedule a surgery then. I felt very comfortable with him. I don't know if it was because he was about my husband's height and appearance and all, but he was so neat. He came back, he gave me a call, and I honestly did not know who he was. this is the truth, I couldn't figure out who the man was. He said, I'm the doctor from USC about the breast cancer. I said, oh, because I'd so totally released it from my mind, I didn't have any mental history of it. And he said, when shall we schedule it? So we determined when we talk on the phone again. He called me back, said, all right, what are we going to do? Because he gave me 3 options. I said, I have been praying and praying and praying since last we spoke. And all I know to tell you is that evidently God, Spirit, is at some fabulous spa somewhere that is extremely expensive, and Spirit doesn't seem to be taking any calls because I'm not getting any answer. Now, this is for all of us. Whenever we treat from the center of this nothingness, which is allness, which is wholeness, which is always connected with the spiritual being, we need to treat asking the proper question. I was treating saying, what shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? Spirit doesn't care what you and I do. I should have been asking, what can I do to get me to a space of total health and physical comfort and mental ease? That's the question I should have been asking. Because I was asking the wrong question from my nothingness and separation in mind, I got no answer, so we scheduled the appointment at USC. When the doctor and I had the last call before we went, he said something I did not think doctors said. He said, do you know what we're going to do? And I said, I don't know. I have no answer, but I feel like we're running out of time for whatever it is. Let's get this scheduled. He said, fine, we're putting it on the calendar. These are the words. I am sure by the time you get here, you will know what you want us to do for you. We have the time reserved for you, and we have the personnel reserved for you. We were on our way to Los Angeles, driving along in the car. I didn't know why I took big, fat, white socks, but I knew if I had surgery, my feet would get cold, so I guess that's why I had it with me. I don't know. I was very comfortable lying in the back seat and reading books, and Richard had the music going, and suddenly, and I can't remember the exact words now, so you'll have to forgive me, I sat bolt upright and I said, honey, I know what we're going to do. Right now, I can't even think of the options, but one of them was a mastectomy. I can't remember what the other something with medication or whatever. Anyway, I said, I have the answer. He said, how do you know? I said, because I just got it twice. This is another message for you and for me. Whenever we ask Spirit a question and the answer comes, it will come to you more than once. It will come to you as though it is written on a wall so that you can see it and you'll know that's the answer. I don't remember the words, but it was that I get a mastectomy. So he said, okay. He said, you know, I like my brownie points, but I can manage with just one. We went down, took care of everything. I was in the hospital 2 days. We stayed at a hotel because they needed afterwards, because they wanted to see me again before we came back. And then Richard said, honey, where do you want to go before we leave the city and head homeward? I said, I would like to go back out to USC. He said, where? I said, I'd just like to go back out to USC and sit in that meditation room. He said, you want to go back out to the hospital where you had this? I said, I really do. I have no negative feelings about the experience, and no sense of identification with the experience. It's just something that happened. We knew we had eaten properly prior to that and that we had lived clean lives where the body's concerned. They scheduled me with individuals who'd already had the surgery so they could do the reconstruction at the same time they did the mastectomy. I went, looked at the women, and we went to their homes. Richard drove me all over the greater Los Angeles area that night. They looked wonderful. Here's something else for you. Always check with yourself, no matter what the situation is, and look to see if you get a red light, a caution light, or a green light. If you are treating about a situation and you get no green light, do not do anything until you get that green light. I got a total green light for mastectomy. I got nothing for reconstruction. Just absolutely nothing. So we chose not to do it. And I will tell you, I don't expect any one of you, even though we hear these tremendous statistics, I don't expect anyone here in the room to go through that challenge again. But it turned out to be so nothing that when I hear the word, it doesn't even give me a negative feeling. I didn't have to have one pill, nothing afterwards. He said 0 to 1% of reoccurrence, just nothing. I'm telling you, anything in this whole world through which your body needs to move, you can do it. Doesn't matter what it is. It does not matter. But what you must do is continue to believe, to know, to honor, and to accept that you are connected to a piece of spirit which is everywhere present, always above, beneath, behind, in front of you, filling you, surrounding you. There is no separation. You can only call on it if you feel one with it. And you cannot believe that in the midst of this itness that there is any void, any emptiness, any space where there is nothing, because it is not so. That is regarding everything in our lives, including our bank accounts. You feel because you look at the book and you see 0 there, that is the amount that's there. That's only a visual. What we must do, no matter what the situation is with which we're dealing, find a place where we're comfortable. You can be lying down or you can be hugging a tree, just wherever you're comfortable. Get comfortable, close your eyes, and say this one line to Spirit, and say it with me. I am available. So if it's better health, a different residence, different transportation, a different relationship, a different beautiful animal to be your loving companion, whatever it is, I am available. If it's more friends, a different job, different haircut, and also this word we use all the time, decisions. Oh, I got to make a decision. I got to make a decision. Here's the thing. This is like magic, but it is the truth. And I wouldn't say anything to you that is not the truth. There are no decisions that you ever have to make. no decisions. All you ever have to do is to accept a revelation. You are in partnership with Spirit. You are going to verbalize what it is that it is important to you, which you choose to experience. And you're going to say, I am available. And then you're going to be willing to accept the results. Now, sometimes you will not recognize the results. You will not recognize them because they'll not look like you wanted them to look. Had a client many years ago. I've had many clients over these years. And we were working on her business and on her acquiring more funding. And I couldn't understand why it wasn't happening, because I know Spirit answers every prayer. And she finally said to me, she said, well, I don't know, she said, I haven't told you, but yes, I did come into a great sum of money, Elmiree. She said, but I don't think it was from our treatment. It just happened that an aunt whom I hadn't seen in years and years died, and she left the money to me. And Spirit always answers, and in the most unusual, most magnificent, most wondrous ways. So say this with me. Nowhere in this world is there nothing. There is something everywhere. Inside of me, above me, beneath me, behind me, in front of me, around me. There is wholeness, there is beauty, there is joy. There is everything that you could need. And it will come right up into your face and will be recognized by you when you're ready for it. That's all it is. Spirit exists to assist. Somebody write this down for me. Spirit exists to assist. I want to write that. I want to get that line before we leave here, please. Spirit, that's it. Always present, 25 hours a day. You're just sleeping away, and your subconscious is working on the last task. You provided it before you went to sleep. That's the reason it's not wise to look at a murder mystery just before you go to sleep, because you just have everything goofed. Try to look at something that is joyous, that is uplifting. Look at something in a book that makes you laugh, makes you feel happy, and then when you drift off to sleep, you're already in the right space. Can you believe me? Yes, ma'am. We're going to close out now, unless someone has some question that's just burning through that one needs to ask. All right. I'll tell you, folks, that during the month of September, our 5 different practitioner groups will be doing the Sunday services. So that's going to be quite exciting. And it just happens that my group, I'm not the head of the group, but my group has the Sunday of September 15th. That's the 3rd Sunday in the month. And it's also the Sunday that our choir sings. And our group has asked me if I will speak, so I shall be speaking on that date. Come if you can. We'd love to have you here. All right. Shall I now, let me check to see what I'm supposed to do now, JJ. You're going to, okay. Very good. I shall fall into silence, and we shall accept that anything and everything you require or need is on its way into your life right now. Okay.
Let me walk to the banks, to the river of love, where the currents run deep, baptized truth sets us free. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I say, oh, you rock my soul. I say, oh, you rock my soul, my soul.
Father, Mother, God, glorious being from forever ago into the eons of time that come, we are here now in the middle of this expansive, growing, changing, beautifully colored, fabulous sounding, delicious tasting, marvelous smelling, here and now. We do give thanks for everything that is. We give thanks for everything that we are, everything that surrounds us, everything that comes into our lives now. And we do choose to be grateful. We are grateful. We know that all the change that's taking place is simply making us better people, more loving creatures on this incredible planet Earth. This night we go out and just stand and look at a tree with our eyes half closed. We just stand there, balanced physically, and we look at that tree. And as we stand looking with our eyes half open, we can see the energy. We can see the energy rising up, floating out from that tree. And lo and behold, if we look at a little plant near its base, we can see the energy there. Father, Mother, God, we can see life. We give thanks for it. We just simply love this wondrous life. And the question that each of us asks this moment is, Father, Mother, God, what can I do to assist? What is there in my household that I am not using that I can give to somebody else? What can I do? We give thanks for the glory of this day, of this evening, of this wondrous gathering of people. We give thanks, we give thanks, we do give thanks. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Aren't we lovely? Aren't we beautiful? Angels in heaven
you believe it?